I tell my friend about these, this crow and, Alfred Hitchcock and stuff. And out of nowhere, these clouds show up above our head. And at one point, it almost looks like a partial extended hand waving out to say hi. And then it fades away into nothing. And then this other cloud shows up and starts changing shape, and it changes from what looks like a bird. I'm not kidding you here. I'm not kidding you. You can look for it yourself. It changes from the shape of a bird to what looks like, and it looks like me with my vape in my hands looking up at the sky. This is going on.
That is,
you can look for it yourself. But it's, I have it on video. That's strange. But that is an example, I believe, theoretically, that what they're saying about shape-shifting could be very relevant. And we don't know. That's the whole thing. We do not know. But Squatchville, the Bigfoot Amphitheater, is bringing these type of observations to the table. People can take it for what it's worth,
Now, hey Dale, where can they find that? Is it? Do you have a website, or is this strictly on Facebook?
This is just a Facebook page right now.
Well, tell everybody how they can find it. For as you're talking, they can go on and look at your Facebook page. So you go to the page. It's called Squatchville, the Bigfoot Amphitheater, and just punch that in, and there's a lot of weird looking stuff in these last recent posts, but some of the other stuff that down the page for the ones that can't get their head around this shape shifting and stuff, you'll find more relevant stuff that you can deal with. Like, I have examples of what I call cryptic coloration or camouflage, and that's a known scientific reality, where like how a leopard may blend into its surroundings. Okay, but Dale, I've had people too say that Bigfoot, they feel that they can cloak, where they can be, standing right in front of you and you don't see them. Again, Samantha was talking about that here the other night, that, when she was taking these pictures, right in front of her, there was a Bigfoot. I have seen those pictures on her website, and it is, it is nothing else other than a picture of a Bigfoot. But she said that physically it wasn't there, but there it was in the image, and that's the scary
I know.
part.
I know a lot of people use the cloak word. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that, because I don't know. It makes me think of the Predator, and the Predator used mechanical gadgets to do this.
Well, I think maybe they actually send off to your brain, and basically
getting into that veil or whatever. They can just pass right through you.
Yeah.
I've experienced this. If I were only Inspector Gadget, I would be a millionaire.
Wouldn't we?
If I were camera ready for everything that I've experienced, geez, but.
Well, I'll be honest with you. My experience, when I ran with my friend who's a doctor back in the early 2000s up in the Canadian Rockies, And we were there, we had cameras. That's the whole point. We were taking pictures of the old Chinese cemetery, or the old Japanese, I should say, internment cemetery, what was left of a building of the internment camp, and the big silver mine. And then all of a sudden, we came across a Bigfoot. And a lot of people through the years, and I haven't really talked about it much except on my radio show. They say, well, you had a camera. Why didn't you take a picture? I said, you know what? I was so scared. I didn't even think about it. I had only one thought in my mind, was to get away. So, again, just because you have a camera with you, sometimes you don't get the images because different things happen.
Man, it can fracture your brain.
Oh, yeah.
And, in the blink of an eye, like just what you're talking, you hit a point where you're frozen in terror almost by what doesn't make sense of reality. In that moment in time, it takes you there, and it all kind of comes together, and the whole world changes for you after you go through that.
And I've gotten a few Bigfoot people mad at me on this one, but sometimes I wonder, are they maybe not Bigfoot, but maybe aliens? And somehow they have, when they have abducted people, right? They kind of download their people's thoughts. And maybe, they have gotten enough information like about Bigfoot and stuff like that from, downloading, their abductees. Knowing that is a subject that maybe could scare people, whatever, and maybe they use that when they're out in the woods or whatever, they're cloaking themselves, and then they kind of project that image. They're a Bigfoot. I don't know what you think about that, but it's something.
I think they can do that. In fact, the photos that I've kind of drawn on. On the top of my news feed on my page shows a whole bunch of weird stuff, and for the rational person, they want to say, now this is pareidolia. But, I've seen real examples of pareidolia, but these actually look like something, Yes, it's very strange to look at. But and it is. It's a real weird few pictures right there, and there is a Sasquatch in that picture. That's what that biggest image is, and I have comparison photos, breakdown of it, and everything. But we were that cloaking thing. I think is slipping. Them raising their vibrational level or whatever it is, and can instantly in that start moving into their own dimension, or the other dimension,
or maybe
it would seem that these Bigfoot are the things that is the creature that connects us with that other dimension, and we're trying to figure that out. A lot of people, and some, I think things got to be done differently. I think people need to really take a good, hard look at what Ron Moorhead is saying. I really do. I'm compelled to feel that way and say that, and it's not just to, brush up to this guy. That is not the purpose. The purpose of my page, which is a nonfiction page, is to bring an understanding of something on planet Earth that we are not aware of or can make rational sense of now. That doesn't mean, we're learning fast, really fast.
Well, I think people now are more kind of accepting that there is something out in the woods. I don't know if what I saw was an actual Bigfoot or something else that was projecting the image of a Bigfoot into my brain. I have no idea. But I'm just wondering too. Besides going into another dimension of that, maybe they
threw a rock at your car, right?
Oh yeah, you have to bring that up. If my wife listens to the show, the replay, guess what's going to happen? Dale. Ever since that happened, I maybe drink 1 or 2 beers a year, if that much. I don't drink.
Right.
I haven't touched pot since I was in the service in Vietnam. I haven't done anything strange. And the first thing when she saw, and it was her new car, she was nice enough and gracious enough to let us go up, for a road trip up to Canada. And she said, what did you hit? What did you do? And I told her the truth. We ran into a Bigfoot. It chases it through a rock, it took out actually a big hunk of her fender and a little bit of the door. Like the door, where it meets the fender, that area. Yeah. And she kept saying, no, you must have hit something. What did you do? I told her the truth. And to this day, she doesn't believe what we ran into. But, I don't blame her because you know what? If she would come home from work and say, hey, a Bigfoot did something to my car, I would probably look at her, okay, you've been working too hard. But, I...
you could imagine being me and taking this, to a public, where people can see this publicly, and and trying to explain to them that these mountain giant are real. These aliens, they're real. I have these things stopping above my head, these UFOs, and flashing a light at me, and then moving on their way and stuff. It's really weird,
And you're not the only one. I've had a lot, I've had Calvin Parker on here who was abducted. He actually says that, that whatever abducted him isn't one of those creatures, okay, that are friendly towards man. Again, I don't know. It seems like a lot of the Bigfoot sightings, at least because I get so much, doing the show, I get a lot of emails every night, after the show. And a lot of people tell me that their experiences when they have seen a Bigfoot, they also had an encounter of seeing a UFO in that area. So, I mean, they sometimes connect to each other.
They coincide. That whole other dimension thing coincides with all of that. And, who's to say that some of these UFOs that we're seeing isn't from another dimension here on planet Earth, just a very ancient one that happens to be scientifically way more advanced than we are. And who's to say that they, I know for a fact they put something on my phone that was not in front of my face. I know that beyond a doubt, and this is an interesting picture, and it's got a host of her offspring, but taking this picture in that dimension and transferring it into this dimension and putting it onto my video is really hard to get your head around for anybody. But it's happened. It's happened to me. It's happened to other people. Some people are really becoming very much aware of the environment around them and starting to understand that these interdimensional beings can be observed in other ways, Well,
and I agree with you a lot because what I have heard, again, where people were out taking pictures, out in the woods, for example, and they didn't see any cryptic or Bigfoot or, whatever, alien or nothing. And all of a sudden, they take a picture, right, of the scenery of the area. And all of a sudden, when they go back home to review it, all of a sudden they have an image of maybe a Bigfoot or something else or an alien. I saw this one picture that was sent to me here this past week. It was taken out in the woods, and you look at it, and you actually can see an image of a woman. It kind of looked like, how the Egyptians had that, those gold squares and stuff around their collarbone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it looked like a helmet of some sort or something on the face. And it was clear